if you have a small opportunity and you are looking out for a bigger opportunity, then you need to optimize your profile to speak into existence the kind of opportunity you are looking for. Because when you are reaching out to people or people are trying to like check who you are, they go to your profile first and determine. So your profile determines if you are worthy for that kind of opportunity or not. So we are optimizing the profile first. Then secondly, we are optimizing the person's content. And looking for that kind of opportunity, then you need to talk like the person that already has the opportunity.
Hi everyone, welcome to Immediate Moments. I am your host, Ahis, and today I have my very first guest joining me live from Nigeria. Racheal is a LinkedIn coach and a personal brand strategist based in Ibadan, Nigeria. She helps professionals build strong and visible personal brands, and she also partners with NGOs and international agencies on very high impact projects. So Racheal and I, we connected on LinkedIn, and if you know me, you know I am very active on LinkedIn, and I've used LinkedIn to connect with people all across the world, people who I would never have met otherwise. So when I came across Racheal's work and saw the incredible testimonials that she had on her page, I knew I wanted to have her on the show. So whether you're in the US, you're in Nigeria, whether you're an immigrant navigating a new country, or professional just trying to grow where you are, I mean, LinkedIn it's one of the most powerful tools available out there. And I think most people are not taking full advantage of it. So that's exactly what we're going to get into today. So Racheal, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
And I've been trying to have Racheal on since August of last year.
Yeah.
So it's been several months, but I'm glad we're finally having this conversation.
Thank you.
So my first question, so what does it mean to be a LinkedIn coach? And I know you studied agricultural economics in the university. So what led you from that to being or to becoming a LinkedIn coach?
Okay, actually, I would say God is awesome because I finished with a first class agric econs from University of Ibadan, the first and the best university in Nigeria. And I was like, okay, what's next? I want to be financially independent. So I reached out to my mentor and he was like, why not try LinkedIn? That you could get a job from there. I was like, okay, let me give it a try. So when I started on LinkedIn, I was like, what's happening here? I graduated with first class, but it's like, this is a new environment that I'm trying to like thrive in. So I started talking about what I do. I'm a graduate, finished with the first class. I was now sharing all the knowledge I knew about agriculture. And I was like, there's something different from the 4 walls of the classroom here on LinkedIn. Here on LinkedIn, you have to share your practical experience and all of that. So that was how I started. Because the first job I even got, I didn't even apply with a CV. The founder just noticed what I was doing and I was like, okay, I think this girl is brilliant and she could do well in my organization. So that was how I started. From there, I got to understand how to navigate LinkedIn in getting clients and all of that. And I was like, okay, a graduate that just got a job from LinkedIn, people are trying to look for jobs. So that was, I said, coaching other people how to use LinkedIn to get a job. And that was how I ended up being a LinkedIn coach.
It's an awesome story. So just give us a timeline here. So when did you graduate from the university and when did you start becoming active on LinkedIn?
Okay, I graduated 2021 and I started being active on LinkedIn 2022. Yeah, a year after that.
I remember in Nigeria, right? After you graduate university, you have to do the youth service. Did you do the youth service then? Okay. And after in the Nigerian educational system, when you go to college, you go to university, you finish with your degree, then there's like 1 year of service that you do. And usually you get posted to a different location in the country, right? They call it like a youth copper. You're a youth copper.
Yes.
So just like a service thing.
The youth copper.
I mean, I never, because obviously I came to the States to do college. I never actually had to do the experience, but I would see people growing up who there's a certain type of like uniform or attire they put on, they have a little hats, and like, oh yeah, this person's a youth copper. That's how you know, like, oh yeah, this person's finished university and they're in that year of service. So you graduated and then you started being more active on LinkedIn. And it's so funny because even for me, I think most people, like, right, the interaction they have on LinkedIn is that when they change a job, they switch jobs or they get promoted. And they'll be like, I'm excited to join this new company, or I'm excited to get this promotion. And then people are like, oh, congratulations. And then they wait until like 3 years until they get the next promotion, or 3 or 4 years until they move to a different company, and then so forth. So, but you realize this that we can go beyond this and start sharing our expertise. So, for that first client you mentioned who found you, so were you just sharing more about personal experiences, or were you sharing about what you learned in the university? Like, what type of content or type of things did you start with?
I was actually sharing everything I know.
Really?
Everything about what I
Okay.
learned in school, my personal experience of going for youth service, the challenges I got along the way, and how I was able to navigate it. And I was also doing educational content related to project management. So that was
Okay.
how the person found me, actually.
Oh, that's awesome. So after you found that first client, I guess what transformed or transpired from there to then doing this more often and then making it a business? Like, what was that transformation like?
Okay, so like how people do go to LinkedIn in search for jobs. If you could remember vividly that I was looking for a job and my mentor was like, try LinkedIn. So when I got the job, I left LinkedIn.
Oh, okay.
I've gotten what I'm searching for.
Yeah.
I'm using a CV to look for a job. The founder was like, let me give this girl a try. She's a first class graduate and I've seen what she has done, even on online space. So when I got the job, I left. I've gotten what I was looking for. But along the
Yep.
line, I felt I have not gotten all I wanted. And like, there is more to me. If I can go to school, go through the hurdles and stress of UI and still graduate with
University
the
of
first
Ibadan.
class, then there is more that I can do. There is more that I can achieve. So along the line, I left the job. I'm more of someone that is like a serial entrepreneur. I can do many things at the same time. Even before I even got the job, while I was in 400 level, I was already involved in kitchen business, like
And sorry,
groceries
stop.
and
So
all of
just
that.
for context for people listening who may not understand the Nigerian system,
Okay, that's
400 level, that's like your fourth year essentially. Is that the
yes,
five?
ultimate year for agric.
So it's a 5-year program?
Yes, it's a 5-year program.
So in Nigeria, they say 100 level, it means like first year, 200 level, second year, 300 level, third
Third
year, and so on and
year,
so forth.
fourth year, fifth year,
And then, so this is a 5-year program. So this is the
the
40-year program.
penultimate
Okay.
year.
Okay.
Oh,
Keep going.
I was already starting my kitchen business because I'm just this kind of person that doesn't want to depend on my parents for long. And I'm the
Yeah.
first child. I still have 3
Okay.
siblings at my back. And I was like, I really need to like assist my parents. If I can fend for myself, the struggle or the stress upon them will be reduced. So that was how I was like, I can do more. I'm good in teaching people. I'm good in venturing into other businesses. I'm good in consulting, in speaking engagements. And I was like, I don't want to limit myself to the 9 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
I can still do more.
Was this job based in Nigeria or was someone who's international in
He's
Nigeria?
an international job and he
Okay.
has one organization in Nigeria and he has another one in
Okay.
the UK. So I was managing
Okay.
both at the same time. Yeah,
Okay.
it's like
And
a
then you
remote
left that.
job. Yes, I left it
Okay. Okay.
to
And then
start
was
my
that when
own
you,
business.
okay. It sounds like you've been doing businesses for a long time.
Yeah.
You said you did the kitchen business you talked about, that was during university
Yes, that
or
was
after
during my
university?
university.
And then you had this first job. And then after this job, then you left and then started this full time? Or what did you do after you left that first job?
Yes, I started my coaching and consulting business full time.
Okay.
I consult for businesses and I also coach people how to use LinkedIn. Generally personal branding.
Okay. That's what we're going to talk about today, especially in
Okay.
the personal branding aspect. One, like what types of clients do you work with today? How did they find you, or how do you find them? Where do they usually come from? And how do those types of consulting engagements, what does those usually entail?
I actually get my clients 2 ways. From
Okay.
referrals, because I've worked with other people, so they are always happy to refer me to other people. So when clients reach out to me via DM or through my WhatsApp messages, they tell me, I got your contact from someone. I got your contact from this person. And I also get my clients from LinkedIn as well, because I've been on LinkedIn for like 3 to 4 years now. Okay. And the type of clients I do work with, I've worked with clients in the NGO space, that
Oh,
is the
okay.
non-profit organization. I've worked with clients in the education space. I've worked with clients in the creative space, that's digital marketing, content creation, and all of. So typically speaking, there's no kind of clients that I cannot work with, because I'm this kind of person, like, okay, when there's a new field to work in, I challenge myself that if I can do it in other field, I can do it in this field as well.
So what's the goal of a typical client? Do they come and meet you and say, hey, Racheal, I have 10 followers and I want to go to 1,000 followers? Or is it like, hey, I want to get a job, so what can I do on my personal brand and LinkedIn to get a job? Or is it, I want more customers? Like, what's the typical, if you have a typical type of client, like what is the goal they're trying to achieve?
Okay, I've gotten a client that said she doesn't want followers, she just wants customers.
Okay.
I've gotten people that need access to partners because of their NGO business. They need partners that can actually support their program. So it depends on the kind of clients I'm working with.
Okay. So
That
it varies
determines
what
the
their
kind of
goal.
strategy we use in getting their results.
Okay. So a lot of my listeners on the show are going to be, they're professionals, sometimes looking for a job or in between jobs. So we'll use the job example here, or
Okay.
the professional sort of example here. So I come to you, I'm a finance professional like I am, and I have a job right now, but I'm looking for maybe a bigger job. I want to work at a bigger company.
Okay.
Or maybe I just want to get a promotion. And I come to you and say, hey, Racheal, I'm working for a small company and my goal is to one day work for a bigger company. And I want to build my network to make it easier for me to get to that goal of working for this bigger, larger company.
Okay.
Where would you start with that type of client?
Okay, for such kind of clients, we start with your profile first, because you have a small opportunity and you are looking out for a bigger opportunity. Then you need to optimize your profile to speak into existence the kind of opportunity you are looking for. Because when you are reaching out to people, or people are trying to like check who you are, they go to your profile first and determine. So your profile determines if you are worthy for that kind of opportunity or not. So we are optimizing that kind of person's profile. Very sure that kind of person reaching out to me, maybe the person does post maybe once in a while, and maybe the person optimized his or her profile before getting that job, and since then has already left it. So we are optimizing the profile first. Then secondly, we are optimizing the person's content, because if
Okay.
you are looking for that kind of opportunity, then you need to talk like the person that already has the opportunity. So in that kind of organization, you already know the kind of organization you want to work with. You look at what they are doing, look at their loopholes, look at where you can fit in, and you use that in your content. Okay, let's say I want to work with Microsoft. I'm working with Amazon and I want to switch to Microsoft. Okay, here are 5 things I would do if I were to be the finance manager of Microsoft. Tag people working in Microsoft. That is optimizing your content. Like a finance manager, you educate people. Your experience you already had working in Amazon, you talk about it, because people need to see like, okay, you want to work with Microsoft. Where have you worked before? What have you done in where you were working? It's not just saying I want to work as a finance manager or expert in Microsoft. We need to see what you've done before and what you can do, like the difference you can bring to the table while working with us at Microsoft. Then also, your connection matters, your network matters. Like how people say your network is your net worth. You need to connect with people working in Microsoft. You don't have to make your intentions known immediately, because that scares people. That makes people go away and be like, are you coming to me for an opportunity, or you want to actually connect? Because this is it. People need to kind of know who you are before they can say, can you do this? Can you do this for me? There's an opportunity or there's an event. Can we go together? Because people tend to change. So you connect with the people in the organization. Not necessarily the top people, because sometimes opportunities come in a way that surprises us. It might be someone that you never even think of remembering you, that might even remember you and be like, are you open to this? So you connect with them, engage with their posts, and have conversations with them in the DMs. Yeah, I don't joke with the DMs, because I've actually worked.
Okay.
Yeah, this is my experience on LinkedIn. I don't joke with my DMs, and I'm actually in kind of a partnership with someone at the moment, and the conversation started in the DM. Okay, this was how it started. I was a guest on their newsletter, like how I'm a guest here now. And one of the founders just reached out to me that she actually loved my article. And I was like, awesome. And she was like, let's look forward to chatting in the future. And that is how the conversation has been since last year up to now. And it has been
Oh,
from one thing to another.
that's awesome. So if I just do a quick recap, number one was optimize the profile, optimize your profile. Number two was optimize your content. And number three, I guess, optimize your network or your connection. And I guess number four is don't joke with your DMs.
Yeah.
So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. But if we sort of take it from the start in terms of optimizing your profile. So most people would have, obviously, sometimes people, the ones that you don't like, I know at least you could do better, would have like a photo of them maybe with somebody, and then you see those cropped photos, like someone next to another person, they crop that person out. You can tell it's just a cropped photo. I mean, I think at a basic level, anybody listening to this, you could do better than that at a basic level. So I know I'm not a LinkedIn coach, but whenever I see that, I'm like, you can do better than this. You can do like, even now with AI and all the different tools that you have, you can like create a professional looking photo. All right, so that's the first one. But when you are looking at someone's profile and trying to help them optimize it, like what are the key things that they need to focus on?
Okay, you've already mentioned profile photo, and the next one is your banner. Most people don't count that banner, but it is very, very important, because we do say don't judge a book by its cover, but people still judge a book by its cover.
We all know that, yeah.
So you need to optimize your banner. You talk about your accolades, how people can work with you. Is it that you should send a DM or book a free call? Tell them the results you've gotten. Maybe you helped as a finance manager, you've increased the income or the revenue of the organization by 10%. Add it there. If it is by 20 to 30%, add it there.
Wait, add this information on your banner or in the profile about section?
Few of it on your banner and more of it in your about section.
Okay, but still, let's still keep the example of a finance professional. So I don't have calls to, I'm not booking calls with anybody. I don't have clients. I don't have any client testimony. It's just me. I just graduated from college, and I have worked at, let's keep the Amazon. I worked at Amazon for a few years, so I don't have any things like in terms of client testimonials or any of that kind of stuff. I mean, I have my resume and what I've accomplished at my work, but how can I, or what type of information can I, from someone like that, what type of information can I put in the banner?
Yeah, if you want to optimize that kind of profile for such person, okay, you write a seasoned finance expert. Write it there. And also how people can work with you that send a DM, because as someone that is working with Amazon, you have, even if it is 1% result, it is also your result and it is unique to you. So you need to add it there.
You mentioned they should put seasoned
Finance
financial experts, and then maybe how to contact them. Is that?
Yes, and you add Amazon, put Amazon logo, worked with Amazon, because people still need to see, yes, on your banner. People still need to see the kind of organizations that you worked with. Like I do say clients, is because I work with people individually and sometimes organizations. So since you worked with Amazon, that is an organization you worked with and you have results there, so you can put it down.
All right, so let's keep moving in the profile. So we talked about a profile photo, and now we've optimized our banner. What's next?
After the banner, you optimize your about section, because people also read that as well. Now, talking about the about section, I have one formula that I do use to optimize people's about section, because anybody coming to your profile is interested in your profile, and it's either that they want to work with you or refer you for an opportunity. So I use a PAS formula. That is, you start with the pain.
Okay.
Yes. You start with the pain, you agitate the pain, and you talk about the solution.
Okay. What's the agitate? Why do you agitate the pain? What does that look like?
Yeah, you agitate the pain because people don't look at a problem as something serious. There are some people who have problems and they don't look at it like they have problems, and they remain in that circle for a long period of time. So they actually need someone to make them see the problem as this is actually affecting your business, or it's affecting you as a person, or it's affecting your career. So when their eyes now tend to open, they see it as, oh, I've been in this circle for a long period of time and I never looked at it the way you are making me see it now. It's like
I
me
see.
going to church and pastor being preaching to us and telling us, don't do this, so that you can make heaven. So when we go to church, that is a solution for us. They open our eyes of understanding to know more things
Oh,
about.
so agitating the pain, and
Yeah.
it's just making it clearer so somebody can really understand why it's a
Yeah, to
problem.
understand.
Okay. And then we move to the last one, the PAS. That's the solution.
That is how you talk about how you can come in to provide solution for the person. Talk about people that you've worked with. Now, for a finance expert that just worked with Amazon, you talk about
Amazon.
the
Yeah.
results you already have with Amazon. So they see themselves in that picture that if you can do this with Amazon, then you can do it for me. Maybe as a founder of an organization, maybe Microsoft, or maybe a personal person that just has a small business. Like, if you could do this with Amazon, then you can do this for me. Then you just end it with, maybe they should send you a DM or LinkedIn. That's the easiest way to reach out to you, or you drop your email address.
Awesome. This is the about us section, right? That's what we're working on.
Yes, the about
The PS
section.
system.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So now we've optimized our about section. Is there any other parts of the profile that needs to be optimized?
Yes, your featured section actually too.
Featured. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about that. How do you go about optimizing the featured section?
Okay. Now, for a finance expert, also like someone that has worked with Amazon, you put your results in a Google Drive and you add it there, your testimonial, so that people can read it to get to know about you, or your portfolio. Because
This like a resume or a CV is the same thing as your portfolio, or just
I would say you should add your portfolio instead of your resume. You know, your resume, you are talking, it's similar, but it's actually in kind of a document that people can read to see who you are, to read about who you are, what you've done, the kind of services that you can offer.
so the portfolio idea? So because I always thought about portfolio as people in the creative world, like people who are like if a fashion designer, I'm like, oh, what's the portfolio? Like you show me all the different things you've designed in the past. Or if you're a musician, your portfolio could be some of the songs you've done. Or if you're a writer, your portfolio could be all the articles that you've written. So for somebody who's just a corporate professional who is not an artistic or creative person, I always think of portfolios as something that's just very difficult because you don't have any like things to show. Like you don't have any designs, you know what I mean? Or you don't have any articles or newsletters to show. So is it just more going in details on the things that you do at your job? Say, I know accounting, then talk about the different things in accounting that I know. Is that how to
Yes,
think about
talking
it for a
about
professional?
and really putting a case study. You need to put a case study.
Case study. I like that. So the case studies of the things, examples of the things you've worked on. For me as a finance professional, one of the things I can think about for case studies is it could be in my particular case, I work on different projects, deals. So it could be like, this particular types of deals. Here are some of the things to keep in mind with this type of deal. So here are the different kinds of issues and how we navigated them for this type of deals. The only concern or problem sometimes for like finance professionals will be confidentiality. A lot of times the things that you work on at your job are very confidential to your job.
Yeah.
Like we worked in this project, but it's not for public consumption.
You don't have to put everything, just short of what you've done. Just to convince someone that you are not a novice. You understand what you're doing.
Okay. Great. So we've now optimized our featured section. Okay. All right. Let's keep going. Anything else?
Yes, your recommendation.
Recommendation. I never thought about this one. So what do we do with our recommendation section?
Okay, that is when you reach out to people. Maybe, okay, the only place I've worked alone is Amazon. And Amazon, we have people in Amazon. The head of my department, my friends, people that I've worked with, not just casual friends, professional friends, friends in the corporate section, corporate sector. You reach out to them. I'm actually optimizing my LinkedIn profile and I want it to be elite. So please, I need a recommendation from you. So they drop a recommendation for you based on what you've done in Amazon, what you've done at Amazon. This is how you don't just reach out to them to just give you the recommendation. You need to be connected before they can give you a recommendation. If you are not connected with the person on LinkedIn, there's no how they'll be able to drop a recommendation for you.
So doesn't that feel weird to just go tell your manager, oh, by the way, can you give me a recommendation on LinkedIn? It just seemed like, what are you trying to do? If somebody came to me and say, by the way, I think I could see this for like my old company. Say I used to work at company A, Amazon. We'll be using Amazon for a while.
Okay.
And then I left to a different company. And then I reached back out to my old manager and say, hey, by the way, can you give me a recommendation of the time I worked with you at Amazon? Right? I think I could understand that. Oh, okay, you want to just. But if I'm still at the same company, I'm still at Amazon, and I go to my manager at Amazon and say, hey, by the way, can you give me a recommendation on LinkedIn? Because it's so right. It's like it's so public. As opposed to if you are in Amazon and you're trying to grow on Amazon, like you should want those type of things internally. Like, why do you want to put it out there? It just seems like, oh, you're trying to look for a new job, you know,
I,
right?
I understand
That's
you.
if somebody tells me that, somebody comes to me, somebody who I work with at Google, and tell me that, oh, by the way, we work on this Google project together. Can you give me a recommendation? I'm like, why don't you ask me to give that feedback to your manager so they can use it in your performance review? Because most people think, oh, if you did a fantastic job within the company, it should be reflected in your performance review at the end of the year, like the annual evaluation. That's the way it should be used, not to put it on some profile picture on the public. So how would you navigate that kind of thing? Or how would you advise them? What would you say?
If the person is trying to like leave that job for another one, I'll tell the person to ask for a review. You don't have to make it known that you're actually leaving the corporate space. Just that sector, like that organization, just tell them you're actually trying to upgrade your professional presence. You're building your personal brand and you want a review and that you want a
Okay.
recommendation. And if it's that the person is still in that Amazon company, not leaving that place, but I'm very sure maybe every 2 years or 3 years we get promotion at a workplace. Yeah. So if you are moving from one department to another or from one level to another, then getting a recommendation is not bad actually.
All right. So let's say you do get the recommendation, you succeeded, you got your recommendation, and we keep going. And then what's next?
Yeah, you focus on your content, networking with people, and also searching for a job because people still get jobs on LinkedIn through the job board.
And on the content piece, because for me, I actually the last 2 or 3 weeks I have not been posting because I've just been very busy at work. But how do you come up with ideas? Because people feel like, okay, it's not Instagram or it's not Facebook where I just talk about like, oh, I'm taking a trip to Miami. Like LinkedIn is not that. Well, it's supposed to be a professional place where you talk about professional topics. So how can you sustain coming up with different ideas to share and things that are worth you sharing on a place like LinkedIn? What's the idea of coming up with different content types and keeping that going and not running out of ideas?
Okay, I'm not running out of ideas. I understand. It's now look at
Yeah.
it. How many days do you want to post on LinkedIn?
Okay, let's say I
You
want to
want to,
post at least
yeah,
twice a week.
twice a week. That's fine. The first day I'll
Okay.
tell you to talk about what you do as a finance expert.
Okay.
And the
All
second
right. So
one, I would say talk about your personal experience. Maybe talk about your passion. Maybe you didn't even want to be a finance expert in the first place.
wait. Hold on. If I say that, wouldn't that be bad? Because my managers can, let's say my coworkers and my managers are my connection on LinkedIn, and I say, hey, by the way, you know what? I didn't. Oh, I guess your point is like maybe I didn't want to be in the first place, but now I like my job now.
Yes. You didn't have the intention of being a finance expert, but something led to another, and now you're enjoying your job and you're
Okay.
using it to
Okay.
motivate others that trying to like
I see.
find their space and thinking of what to do. And maybe they got access to a job and they're like, I don't like this job, I don't want to do it. But you're trying to motivate them that try it out. You never can tell. Maybe that is your calling. Maybe that is where you're going to be successful at.
Maybe I should do a post because I growing up in Nigeria. Cause I
Okay.
was born in Benin City. I grew up in Benin, and in that area on the south of Nigeria, because the oil companies, like one of the good places to work at is the oil companies. So you have like
Okay.
Chevron, Shell,
Yeah.
ExxonMobil, and growing up, some of the people I knew who were well-to-do people worked at one of those companies, like Shell, Chevron, and so that's what I wanted to do.
Okay.
So when I was graduating from university, I wanted to do petroleum engineering or chemical engineering. And so one of those engineering things, because I wanted to work at Shell one day. But anyways, the story is long story short is I did not become an engineer. I ended up doing accounting and I ended up doing finance. So I guess one idea for a post is like, how I started thinking about chemical engineering and how I ended up in finance.
Yeah.
Some of the lessons in that journey. I guess okay, maybe I should write a post like that.
Yeah, for me as an example, I actually wanted to be a medical doctor but I ended up
Okay.
being an agricultural economics. And from there, I started being a project manager for NGO organizations. And I started coaching people on how to use LinkedIn and how to build their personal brands.
Yeah, so the story is that so you just gotta think through this. So you do one day, just the 2 days a week. I say I wanted to post 2 days a week. So you're saying one day maybe more
More on
work
your
related topics,
finance.
more subject matter type of things. And then the second day more personal
Yeah.
type of things.
But
Okay.
concerning that personal, because I've had clients who told me, Racheal, I'm not comfortable telling people about
Yeah.
my personal life. And I was like, but I'm telling you to put personal content out there. I'm not telling you to tell people about your struggles, maybe family problems or thereabouts. No. I'm telling you to tell people about your personal experience in your field. I'm not telling you to tell them about your husband, your children, your grandparents, and all of that. No.
Okay.
That's your own personal experience. I also have my own personal experience. Okay, let's say in
Yeah.
the field of trying to make ends meet, we all have our journeys.
Yeah.
Some people's journey was kind of straight, some were curved, some were like circle and all of that. But at the long run, we are able to put food on the table.
Yeah, I try to do the balance. I try to, but I also think I've been doing this for going to 2 years now, like posting on LinkedIn and such. And I do think that once you start doing it, it's like a muscle. You start getting, it just gets easier. It's just practice. Like because you think about it, for someone who's not doing it, you think, oh my goodness, like how am I going to come up with content for every week or 2 days, twice a week or whatever? It seems just like a lot. But once you start doing it, like you start like seeing things that like you start making connections, like, oh, that's a cool idea. Like something happens to your work. You're like, oh, that's a good experience that would be good content. So that'd be a good experience that I can share that people can learn from. To me, the beauty of sharing online on a place like LinkedIn, I feel like you pay more attention. You're more attentive to things going around you. Like I pay more attention to what I think at home, things at work, things when I'm traveling. You just pay more attention. And then that's how you make connections between like, oh, I used to think about this type of thing like this, but oh my goodness, like this is another way to look at this type of things. Or this is another way. So for people listening who are like, oh my goodness, how do I start or how can I keep it up? I'd say just start, right? Once you start, it just becomes easier. And as I mentioned earlier, it's been very busy for me at work the last few weeks, and I've not posted the last few weeks on LinkedIn. And now, doing it now seems hard because I haven't done it for like 3 weeks. Now I'm like, was doing it very constantly. It was not like something that I felt like it was like a job or stressful. It's just something I just did. I just did it and I just moved on. But not doing it for a while, now it just seems like, oh, goodness, I gotta say, what do I talk about? Now I feel like I'm starting from scratch again. I'm like, I don't even know what to do. What do I say now?
Actually, you're not starting from scratch. You're starting from experience.
Yes. Compared to most people, I'm definitely starting from scratch. Once you start, you just get into that mindset and it just gets easier and easier and easier over time. But one of the things for someone who posts a lot or who posts a good amount on LinkedIn, you monitor it's the performance of your post. Like you want to see the impressions, the engagement, how many likes, how many reads, and all those different things to monitor how good you're becoming with your post and how good your content is. And to be honest, sometimes it could be, I don't say disheartening, but discouraging. It's kind of nice when you do a post, and sometimes like I spend a certain post that they come very quick. Like I just get the idea very quick and I just type it up. I can just post it very quickly. I don't spend too much time on it. Like it's just like bum 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 bum. I can do it in 10 minutes. I just get the idea. I'm like, oh, it's a brilliant idea. Just type it up in 10 minutes and I'm done. A certain post that I workshop a lot. I have this idea, but I'm like, you know what? I spend time trying to rework it and I'm like, oh, this is a very brilliant. I've spent like weeks sometimes on this one post and then I posted and then crickets and nothing happened. It can be disappointing sometimes, especially for those ones when you spent a lot of time and effort trying to make it polished and everything, and then you put it up there and like you get 2 likes, or you get 2 comments. I used to feel like I knew what post would do well, but to be honest, now I don't know. Like to be honest, I don't know what post do well because I never can. I just don't know. Like I would do something that feels very brilliant to me. I'm like, this is like a brilliant post, and then I post it out there and like not a lot of engagement. So I'm like, I guess I don't know how this things work anymore. So my question to you is, what should I be focusing on? Not just me, but for people who do start in this journey of sharing content and sharing their thoughts on LinkedIn, what's more important for them to focus on? Is it the number of engagements, the clicks, the impressions, the number of people reached, or just not even thinking about that and just focus in on like the quantity of posts? Like, what for someone starting out, what should they focus on as a metric to track how they're performing?
Okay, I'll tell you to focus on everything.
Everything. Okay.
Yeah. Now let me give an example. For someone just starting, if you make a post today and someone likes it, meaning that you are getting there.
Okay.
Because now for impressions means, okay, I pick up my phone and decided to check LinkedIn to see what is going on LinkedIn, and I saw your post. I might decide to like, I might decide not to like. Me not liking your post doesn't mean that your post is not good. Because we have some silent lookers that they just look at post and move on. But that doesn't mean the post is not good. And okay, I saw your post today. I used my phone to check it. I've seen it once. Maybe in the night, I was trying to check something on LinkedIn. I used my laptop. I saw your post again. That's twice. So that is the meaning of impressions. The number of times people are seeing your post.
Okay.
And people all over time, people tend to like. If someone likes your post today and it graduates to 2 tomorrow, that means it's getting better. You are saying something people want to listen to, or you say something that people actually really like. Now going to engagement. Engagement, like the number of likes, the number of comments. Engagement means two things. Okay, people are in love with your post. They like what you do. And sometimes again, or most times I do tell people, check the kind of people that are liking your comments. Check the countries those people are coming from. Are they from
Why
your
is that
target
important?
audience? Okay. Actually, we have some people that I won't use the word scammers, because people actually sell their LinkedIn profiles and they use it for, people sell their LinkedIn profiles. If it has gotten to some number of followers, they decide to like sell it, because people are actually, because I've seen some Facebook groups that they'll say, if you want to sell your LinkedIn profile, you can send me a DM.
How much would I sell? How much can I sell my LinkedIn for?
I actually don't know, because I'm like something I've built for years.
No, I'm just kidding. I am not selling.
Yeah, I know.
Because it's about me. I can sell to someone and then they start posting all kinds of stuff that I don't know, I don't approve of. Like that just fits the purpose. Okay, so we're talking about impressions. But I guess the question though is like, you said, I guess all. I was gonna ask you which one. You're saying all impressions, engagement, all of them. All of them important.
It's important. As you move towards on your personal brand journey, you tend to look at, okay, how many people has this actually reached? Is it reaching more people? Because okay, this is it in digital marketing. If we want to get new customers, we have a free product that we do sponsored ads on to reach more people. Okay, for them to subscribe to our newsletter. How many people? Let's say we have an ebook and it was able to reach like 100 people. 100 people subscribed to our newsletter to get that ebook. 50 people were actually interested in getting to know more of what we do in our organization. And at the long run, 10 people bought our courses or 10 people bought our products.
So that's the marketing funnel.
Yeah, that's from like 100 to 50 and to 10. So that is how it is too for LinkedIn. Number of people it's reaching, number of people engaging on your posts, and how many people in the long run are actually reaching out to you.
Okay. And I want to, obviously, as I mentioned at the top of the show, you're my very first guest in Nigeria. So it's a special episode for me. But what are some of the unique opportunities and challenges that someone trying to build a personal brand in Nigeria might face that might be different elsewhere? I don't know if there's any like peculiar, unique things that you've seen in your experience, because imagine you've worked with people in Nigeria as well, right? I know you work with people like in the UK and abroad. So is there any unique opportunities or unique challenges for someone who's leveraging LinkedIn in Nigeria compared to other markets?
Yeah, there are opportunities and there are challenges. Now, I'll start with the opportunities. Let's start with the good one first. You have access to working with people from different countries. If you know your onions very well and you are good with your content, showing your case studies of what you've been able to do for other people, even within your zone, within your territory. Yeah, because that is It was because I was able to put up myself out there on LinkedIn. That is why I was able to have access to working with clients in Canada, in US, and in UK. UK to be precise, United Kingdom to be precise. Okay. And also you have access to learning from other people, seeing what you are unable to see in your territory, because I've been able to learn from other LinkedIn coaches, from other business owners in the UK, in the US, in Canada, and I was able to incorporate what they do over there to what I do here. That aside, you are able to get speaking engagement if you move with people very well. That is why I said when you are connecting with people, don't just reach out to them for job or for opportunities immediately. No, get to know them better, get to know what they do, see how you people can partner together to work with together. You never can tell what can happen in the long run. Now going to the challenges. One of the challenges is that people look at Nigerians, for an example. They look at Nigerians that, where are you coming from? I don't understand. So it's now for you to be able to prove yourself that beyond being an African, yeah, I came from Africa and I know what I'm doing.
Oh, so is it more of a competence thing? Like they see you from Nigeria, they may not think you are competent enough.
They look at that the territory over there, like QS, we have more experience, and can you cope? Can you do what we are doing? So it's just for you to be able to prove yourself. And now working remotely, we have issues of lights, connection, internet
power.
connectivity. Yeah, the power. It's nothing to write home about, but we're actually getting a better way to make things work out.
Yeah. And I mean, I must say, for me, one of the things that interested me, or me wanting to have this conversation with you, is I just haven't. Again, I'm sure there's a lot of people in Nigeria who are LinkedIn culture experts. I just have never met anyone or came across anyone.
Okay.
I do see a lot of people from actually Europe, like on my LinkedIn feed at least, a lot of people who sell services like that. Obviously, some in the US, but I think I see a lot of people in Europe. And then anyone in Asia? I think mostly Europe, at least on my feed. I don't want to do a city of LinkedIn experts or LinkedIn specialists and can teach you and whatnot.
Okay.
And so for me, what made me excited when I saw your profile, I'm like, oh, we actually have people like this in Nigeria. Like, wow, I did not know that. You know what I mean? It just wasn't something I just thought about. I just didn't know that it was like a thing. It was that big enough where someone can actually make it like a business in Nigeria. So that was exciting to me because I've always thought about it as a very Western thing, like just some people in the US and people in Europe. So that definitely made it very interesting to me to want to have this conversation and get to learn about you and get to know you as well. So it's been a wonderful conversation. I hope everyone listening have at least learned something, how to optimize your profile, whether it's your photo, your banner, your feature section, case studies, and all of that. But the place I like to end my conversations is with this question.
Okay.
What's the best advice you've ever received?
Yeah, the best advice I've ever received is that don't limit yourself to your environment or to where you are. Be open to challenges, because that is how those talents, those gifts that God has installed into you, that is when it comes out. And be open to challenges. See it as a better way, as a stepping stone to the next level.
That's a great place to end. So thank you, Racheal, for joining me on the show today. And for everyone listening, make sure to follow Racheal on LinkedIn. I will put her LinkedIn profile on the show notes. And for people listening, please, if you're not following the show yet, please subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or wherever you listen. Thanks for listening. I'm Ahiz, and until next time, stay unmuted.